shade in here. With men, you're going to lighten the area between the point of your eye and your nose to make your eyes look less deep set. We want ours to look more deep set to increase the brow ridge, okay? Even if you're wearing your hair down over your face, you still want to increase it in the eye area.
We're running a little short on time, so we'll go quickly through the other stuff. One option for makeup is to wear a mask. Kigurumi can be useful in this. This mask right here, this is me. It's a magazine, it's a mask produced by a guy in Japan named Natori, which actually has a very Japanese feminine face. The problem with it is it's about 3/4 of an inch thick, so there's no movement whatsoever. It's great for photos, but you're not going to convince anybody walking around with it. And go ahead, a couple more. Okay, now hair, I'm not going to talk a lot about that. Hair is almost exactly the same as it is for any kind of costume. Try to get hair that's going to match the character. Try to get hair that's going to look to work. There are a variety of places in town to do that. And I believe there's a panel tomorrow on hair. Voice. This is extremely important to be able to try to talk in the appropriate voice. Now, gentlemen, you do not want to try to do a falsetto. Because if you try to do a falsetto, it comes out sounding something like this. I don't think anybody's going to buy it. Sound like Mickey Mouse on steroids. So instead, what you want to try to do is to raise your register. Voice is the thing I have the hardest to remember maintaining, because my voice tends to shift in some ways. I tend to keep the register, but it also needs to be soft. It needs to be a little bit, and there are certain speech patterns that you want to use when you do that. But having the voice to match can make a very big difference. It's amazing how that will either ensure what people think or not. If you think that your voice is going to be a giveaway for you, make sure they see you first, so that then, before they hear you, so that they will try to make a visual connection to begin with. As a matter of fact, the very first time I wore Xena to the Renaissance Festival, I had a mother come up to me and ask if said, my daughter loves Xena, would you come and talk to her? And it occurred to me that if I hadn't worked on my voice, I went over and said, hi kid, I'm Xena. Now, it would have been over. So it's important to be able to do that. Women tend to have to be more expressive and those kinds of things. Real quick.
For the male, you want to flatten out your tones. You don't want to end on an upswing. Women tend to say things in a questioning way. You don't want to do that. You don't want to smile as much. Women tend to smile more to be more pleasing to the person they're speaking to. All right? You don't want to do that. Guys also, if you're talking to a guy, they'll tend to kind of look off to see what else is happening. It's not that they're not paying attention to you, it's just that they also want to know what's on the other channel. So that's something to keep in mind if you're trying to be a guy. Again, go to the mall, sit at a table with a coffee and observe them around you.
We'll wrap this up real quick. Thank you guys for your patience. We're almost done. Movement. Very important. How do you walk? I've discovered that if you're wearing heels, your walk is a lot more feminine. Thank you very much. That you want, and the best way to learn how to move is what she said several times. It's an old time acting staple, and that is you simply go and observe people. Go sit at the mall and just watch people walk and how they walk. And see how women walk. How do they do that hip thing? It goes back and forth. How do guys? What do they do with their hands? You know. And just see, you're not going to find any two people do it exactly the same, but the more you observe, you can see kind of what they're doing and how to practice.
One other thing to keep in mind, all of you have seen men who look really feminine and you think, boy, it wouldn't take much to switch them over. You've seen women who have very strong noses and jaws and you think, oh, boy, she could just, change over in a heartbeat. Don't count on that getting you through. You want to hit as many visual cues as you can. Cut off your fingernails. Don't use a fingernail clipper and get a manicure. Use a toenail clipper. Make them a little uneven. Leave one a little longer if you're doing a guy. If you're doing a female, clear nail polish. You don't have to put color on. Put on clear nail polish. It'll give just enough of a shimmer. They'll think, oh, female. You want to hit as many visual cues as you can.
Okay, the last thing to mention is how do you handle reactions. For example, when I was Gwen, Virginia Day, who was Zahn on Farscape, was there. And I went to her and she was signing autographs and I wanted to get a picture with her and I said, just so you know, I'm not really a guest. I'm just kind of doing this as kind of a hoax for fundraising money for charity. She said, because I wanted to tell somebody. And she said that was very cool. And she said, well, that was very interesting and everything. So then I stood up to get my picture taken, and she says, oh, good, another tall woman. Didn't get it, did you? Chase Masterson was also at that same convention. I said, I've had 8 people who've come up and said they've seen my show. And she said, well, I'm sorry I can't make it 9, but I never saw your show. I met her 3 years ago. 3 years later, I said, hi, probably, I don't know if you remember me or not. She goes, I don't think so. And I said, I was Gwen DeMarco. And she says, I meet thousands of bands, and I remember you. But on the other hand, this was a guy from Babylon 5. He read me immediately as being a guy. I said, can I get my picture taken with you? He said, sure, you stand there. You're going to get all kinds of reactions. You're going to have people who will just immediately assume that you're what you look like. You have people who read you in a heartbeat. You won't even be able to tell for sure which is which. I've had people, oh God, no doubt in my mind they knew what they were looking at, and I found out later they had no idea. Other people, wow, I'm just really going. They really think I'm what I am. And their reaction is, oh yeah, I knew you were from Mona Desire. It's up to you how you respond. If you think it's kind of fun to play with a little bit before you let them in on the secret, go for it. If you want to say, well, actually, really, I'm a guy, there's certainly nothing wrong with that. You can work with them in that regard. And we don't really have time for questions, but I know the main thing is